Now, I'm sure that a lot of you have seen the improvement, the mass improvement that's been going on with WWE Creative in the past, several months, the past half year, if not more so. But as much as we may not want to, admit it, as much as we want to try to deny it, we do know that this first full year under Triple H has not been perfect because we do know that before the Endeavor deal became, official, that Vince was basically dabbling back into creative. He was poking his fingers, bing, 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 all over the place when he shouldn't have been doing that. And the best way he was trying to avoid it was by basically saying, "Oh, I'm not there physically. I'm there, technically." And technically, basically being, "Oh, I'm there via Zoom. I'm there via text. I'm there via email, phone call, you name it." He was still dabbling. But as soon as the Endeavor deal occurred, that's pretty much like myself and I'm sure others pretty much felt that he was not going to be in creative much longer. His days were numbered. And I said to myself that, Ari Emanuel will place him in an area that fits him better. If he's going to be co-executive chairman, that's going to be his position. Not creative, but working in that area. And I'm pretty sure others that felt the same way, were correct in that. Um, but with Triple H, though, taking over fully, because that's the position he was blessed with afterwards, 99.9%, of that, you can definitely see the big changes that have been happening. The rebuilding that's been occurring. We've been seeing it with the Intercontinental Championship and that division. We've been seeing it with the U.S. title in that division. We've been seeing it with the men's tag team titles in that division, and now we're seeing it with the women's tag team titles in that division as well as the women's championship, the women's world championship, the world title, and the undisputed title. We've been seeing mass improvements all the way around. We've seen the rebuilding phases of each of these divisions and the key players that will be part of them. But there's no denying that we've also noticed that when Triple H is not there and someone like Bruce is put in charge, despite the fact that things are already, written, finalized, and set in stone, that Bruce will basically run things not the Triple H way, but, the Vince way. Because let's be honest, Bruce Pritchard, once he's given the keys to the kingdom for one night, maybe 1 week, will do things the way Bruce will. I mean, not Bruce, but Vince will. I mean, you can't tell me when Triple H a couple of weeks ago was out in L.A., talking up negotiations for television rights for Raw and all that, along with Nick Khan. You can't tell me that when Bruce was put in charge, he probably wasn't trying to be on the phone or texting, Vince, asking him, "Hey, what would you do, or what would you like me to do?" You can't deny that because that's a fact. That is a fact. Um, but overall, you can definitely see the mass improvement. You could see it. You can see the improvement, overall in the product. And what I do see also is Triple H using this as a way to um, essentially send a message to Vince and even to those that are still working, under him, that was part of the Vince McMahon regime. He's, sending a message of, you know, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done, or this is how you should have done it. You know, by like I said, focusing on men and women that need to be focused on, focusing on the rebuilding of all the divisions and titles and championships that you see getting that shine and everything. But also in a way, he's sending a message to Tony Khan because what we're also seeing being built up and being focused on is factions. We're seeing the LWO, we're seeing Judgment Day, we're seeing the OC, even though the storyline is that there's kind of some cracks there that will inevitably be repaired. We know that. So you're seeing the OC there. You're seeing, like I said, the LWO, Judgment Day. You're seeing this new Legado Fantasmo or Legado Fantasma, being built up between Santos, Angel, and Alberto. You got, Karrion Kross coming, coming into 2024 with his new stable with Scarlett and Paul Ellering and the authors of Pain. And then, of course, you got the Bloodline. You're seeing a massive focus on factions, more so than you have in a while. And you got to remember that the reason you're seeing this is because, one, Triple H was part of several factions. He was part of DX. He was part of the corporation. He was part of Evolution. So he knows what it's like to be part about. Be a part of factions. That's the one I'm looking for. Be a part of factions, and how successful that can be, and how much that gets people wanting to tune into the product to see how all these groups are going to interact. But at the same time, he's also, outside of sending a message to Vince and Bruce, Bruce working with him right now, and other people that worked under Vince and now work for him, of, hey, this is how, things should have been done in the first place. This is who you should have been focusing. This is what you should have been building up, and da-da-da. It's, as well as even showing them that, hey, factions, they could still work and all that. They could still, get people's attention, get people to tune in. At the same time he's sending a message to them, he's sending a message to Tony Khan. He's sending a message to him, seeing how at first, because, AEW, one of the things they were known for was everything we're seeing in WWE right now. The focus on the tag divisions, the focus on the women, the focus on the secondary titles and championship divisions, as well as the world titles. We saw that, as well as we saw the focus on factions, a lot of factions. But what Triple H is doing is he's basically he's sending a message to Tony Khan that hey, I can do all that and I can do it better. And as far as factions go, I'm going to take, unlike you, the difference is I'm not going to rush into the factions right off the bat. I'm going to build them up. To where, once they do debut, or once they start, coming together and having more screen time, people are going to want to tune in and, just tune in and see what happens next, because they're going to be invested. So overall, when you look at Triple H's run in 2023, as head of creative, there's no denying that he's done a massive job. He's done a massive job. You see the improvement. And, we may have had some ups and downs at the beginning because of what I mentioned earlier. But again, once that merger happened, we got not only did we get what we got last year when, Vince had to disappear for a while because of what happened, but also but not only did we get that again, but we're getting more of it, and we're getting exactly what I think Triple H had originally planned to do going into this year, if it wasn't for Vince coming back at the end of last year and into the beginning of this year. So we're getting basically a full-on, version of that now instead of a trial version, But, yeah, I think Triple H has done a great job, and I think what he's done is send a message to not only Tony Khan of how, basically saying, hey, I'm taking what you've done, but I'm improving it. I'm doing it the right way. But he's also sent a message to Vince of, this is what you should have been doing in the first place. So I think he's been doing a great job, to